So, as 2024 unfolds, there are ongoing stories that will continue to take shape, including one that impacts everyone's daily life in the United States. The reorganization of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, their Human Foods Program began in 2023 with the appointment of Jim Jones to be the agency's first ever Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods. Jones is a 30-year veteran of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. FDA Commissioner Robert Califf created the new Deputy Commissioner post after internal and external reviews showed the food side of the FDA had no transparent chain of command and other deficiencies. The FDA began studying those deficiencies in May of 2022 after Califf was grilled by a congressional committee investigating the infant formula debacle. You guys remember that, where we could not get infant formula at all. There were purchase limits. If they did have it, there were purchase limits. Some places even made you prove that you had children. And then of course there was people saying they saw massive pallets of formula in Mexico as opposed to here. Like, it was a whole entire thing, right? This year, Jones will continue to review the problems under his jurisdiction. He has begun to address them by changing the names and responsibilities of some offices. The Office of Regulatory Affairs is now the Office of Inspections and Investigations. He says that will strengthen the FDA's field-based oversight program. The proposed reorganization of the FDA also includes creating new offices and shifting responsibilities from some offices to others. So I pulled up the FDA website, fda.gov, and I said, exactly what is this proposal for a unified human foods program? I was like, what exactly is a human foods program? Because if you think about it, your brain goes, oh, Soylent Green, got it. Human food, humans as food. Like, that's where my brain went. And it says here, I was trying to figure out exactly what it is. And of course, the way the government words things makes it almost impossible to fully, truly understand what they're saying. But I want to give you just a little bit of a breakdown over here of what it says. The FDA is focused on transforming the agency to be more efficient, nimble, and ready for the future with the ever-changing and complex industries we regulate, including the emergence of new food technologies, the impacts of globalization, climate change, and other factors that require the FDA to quickly adapt to an evolving world. I want to go ahead and put it out there right now. When they say new food technologies, they are talking about, you cannot convince me otherwise, they are talking about cell-cultured lab-grown chicken and future meats like that. We've already talked numerous times over here about those things, and the two companies that have been FDA approved to make cell-cultured lab-grown chicken, and it's in restaurants in California. It will soon hit grocery stores near you, and we already know that they are allowing genetically modified salmon, genetically modified pigs, and genetically modified beef. We've already talked about this. So to me, this whole unified human foods program and new ORA model, this is a proposal for it, for the Office of Regulatory Affairs. This is to save themselves with what's coming with the change in what is considered food, okay? You cannot convince me otherwise. When it says unified human foods, it's because we are going to see a massive shift, I feel, in the next year, 2, 3 years, in what is presented to us as food and as proteins and things like that. And you're going to see a massive shift in how farming or lack of farming is done. So in January of 2023, last year, just a year ago, the FDA announced it would develop a proposal for a unified human foods program, or HFP. Again, 3 letters, y'all. Anytime it's 3 letters, be wary, okay? HFP, and the new Office of Regulatory Affairs, ORA, model after carefully reviewing the findings and recommendations of a Reagan-Udall Foundation evaluation, an internal review of the agency's infant formula response, and feedback from external and internal stakeholders, such as during listening sessions with FDA employees. Stakeholders, people who have money in the game, skin in the game, if you will. So this isn't about you and me. It's about making sure stakeholders, shareholders, whatever else, are happy and receiving some sort of profit for whatever it is that they're doing. Again, profit over people every single flipping time. If approved, which it has been, the proposed changes will allow the agency to, 1, fully realize the preventative vision laid out in the FDA Food Safety Modernization Act, 2, elevate the importance of nutrition to help reduce diet-related diseases, and 3, strengthen state partnerships and embrace innovative food and agricultural technologies that will position the agency to more effectively regulate and uphold safety of the nation's food supply. Hear what they're not saying, but they are saying. Strengthen state partnerships and embrace innovative food. Well, cell-cultured lab-grown chicken, pretty freaking innovative if you ask me. And then effectively regulate the nation's food supply. Yeah, it's the effectively regulate the nation's food supply that I'm like, well, this sounds shady beyond all get out. And it's not a tinfoil hat thing. It's not a conspiracy theorist thing. It's a brain cells that rub together and work together to come up with, the fact that they are telling us what they're doing, but most people aren't going to look for it and they aren't going to understand it if it's not like spelled out specifically. If the FDA says, we are going to only give you lab grown stuff, then people will be like, oh, okay. But if they say, we are going to strengthen and embrace innovative food and we're going to regulate the nation's food supply, some people are like, oh, no, that's good. They should strengthen things and they should regulate things. Make sure everybody gets a little bit of something. That's not what they mean, my dudes. That is not what they mean. The FDA is proposing changes that will impact other commodities we regulate, such as medical products and cosmetics, by creating an enterprise-wide structure that will enhance collaboration between ORA investigators and subject matter experts throughout the entire agency. The proposal includes additional improvements to modernize and strengthen the entire agency to work more cohesively and collaboratively together to accomplish its public health mission. Well, what's the mission? It didn't say that the public had better health. It just says public health mission. Is it to make more of us sick? Is it to ensure more of us go from a legit carnivore or omnivore diet to a fake meat diet? Like, what are we doing here? The FDA completed its proposed reorganization package in December of 2023. It is currently undergoing a formal external review process required for all federal reorganizations. The FDA is hopeful implementation will occur sometime in calendar year of 2024. So, I hope you understand what's coming up. FDA's proposal for a unified human foods program. Just the name alone should scare the bejesus out of you. In my personal, non-professional opinion, it should scare you, because the reason I looked this up is because I saw this article that said 4 food manufacturing trends for 2024. This is on Manufacturing Dive, right? This popped up and it had me thinking about things. And then the next thing you know, I'm like, hey, what's up with the FDA? And then we find out there's this and it's like, well, none of this sounds good. So according to this, I just want to give you a little bit of this. 4 food manufacturing trends for 2024. It says, producers should prepare for continued supply disruptions in a tight labor market this year. This is according to experts. This article actually came out about a week ago. Maybe things have changed in the last 7 days, but it says here that the food and manufacturing industries are eager to start anew in 2024, putting the past 3 years of pandemic-induced uncertainty behind them. Consumer spending stayed strong through 2023. Inflation appears to be slowing, and creating resilient supply chains is still a top priority across most companies. At the same time, though, a tight labor market and ever-shifting consumer demand will keep food manufacturers on their toes in the months ahead. Growing interest in fresh and frozen foods, grab-and-go items, and sustainable products will create tough competition for these segments in the coming year. And as more producers test the waters of AI, good old artificial intelligence, which that sounds like an oxymoron to me, their primary short-term goal is to decode today's buyers. Here are 4 food manufacturing trends to watch for this year. One being the labor shortage. Okay. It says here that as of November 23, U.S. employers posted 100 job openings for every 72 available workers. This is according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce data. The same ratio fell to less than 50 available workers for every 100 open jobs in at least 16 states, including Montana, Maine, and Virginia. Employer demand is persistent across industries from manufacturing to construction. The challenge for food producers is that job seekers are drawn to household names like Amazon, while the local manufacturer needs additional publicity. To tackle this issue, some companies have partnered with local governments to get the word out, while others have hired younger workers and trained them on the job. At the federal level, the good old Biden administration distributed nearly $196 million in grants and loans in November alone of 2023 to strengthen domestic food supply chains, targeting businesses in agriculture, food processing, and regional food systems. So they say. I haven't seen where the money's gone. If y'all know, let me know. But I have not seen where $196 million in grants have gone to small businesses. Maybe it went to larger ones already. Maybe it went to ones who are part of this new, human food initiative to manufacture fake whatevers. Who knows? Now, another thing, it says continued supply disruptions will favor the prepared, okay? If the pandemic underscored the importance of supply chain management, 2024 will bear the fruits of this time and investment. Pending December data, 2023 was almost certainly the hottest year on record, which we have talked about. Hottest year on record. If collectively you added up all the temperatures, hottest year on record. It's a searing example of the changing weather patterns that dried up the Panama Canal, stunted Georgia peaches, and put Midwest soybean farmers on edge. As if climate impacts weren't enough, the war in Ukraine and attacks on shipping vessels in the Red Sea will continue to disrupt the flow of key ingredients from overseas. These flashpoints have pushed brands to rethink their supplier networks, lean into diverse portfolios, and invest in relationships with alternative suppliers. What I hear from that is you're going to see more GMO products. You're going to see more things that are fake, not real, manufactured, something in order to still get the things moving, since we can't rely on the way we used to rely on things because of climate change or whatever you want to call it, or because of lack of being able to get things from overseas due to everything that's going on outside of the United States, not even counting what's going on here in the United States. Now, the next one, it says fresh, frozen, and health foods are set to outshine other products. But before I even read you this, I just want to say fresh, frozen, and health foods a lot of times are full of chemicals. They're aimed at being healthy because they're gluten-free, or they are low-fat, or they are sugar-free. But those things are always made up with something else. And so a lot of times these health foods are not that healthy. Fresh can be whatever you want to call it. If it's a fully genetically modified or fake or whatever, is it still fresh? But they'll say it that way, right? And then frozen, not everything frozen is great for you. But according to this, market research from Circana predicted that beverage and deli foods will outperform other retail categories this year. Among deli foods, the firm said grab-and-go options are likely to continue to be popular among consumers, while protein and energy drinks may be behind the rise in beverage sales. Peggy Davies, who is the president of the Private Label Manufacturers Association, expects a selection of fresh and healthy food to expand across convenience stores as brands seek out younger customers. Frozen, healthful, and fresh prepared will be the categories to watch in the coming year. According to this, American frozen food sales rose nearly 8% between just July of 2022 and July of 2023, but retailers are now struggling to reach shoppers who are navigating still inflated prices. A lot of those were bought, though, because we were so worried about the food supply chain at the time. And heaven forbid, another freaking stupid lockdown. A lot of people went out and bought separate deep freezers. I know I did. When 2020 hit, I was like, oh no, we need a little extra here. So we went and got a deep freezer. We moved it from Georgia here to Florida. It's here with us here. And we have it stocked at all times because you just never know what's going to happen. And it's better to be prepared than not, right? So the frozen foods rising nearly 8% in that year span. People were very worried about the ability to get food the next day. So a lot of people bought frozen foods or bought regular food and found ways to freeze it, vacuum seal, freeze, whatever. Canning was a huge thing that year too. So yeah, okay. Now this last one says, despite an overall spending increase, consumers remain unusually price sensitive. I don't think being price sensitive is unusual, especially after the last couple of years. I mean, the way things have been going, we have to be price sensitive. You have to notice when something has gone up, whether it's 5 cents or $1.25, because it all adds up and it all hits our bank accounts and it all hurts us in the long run, right? Consumer mood doesn't seem to match the economy's more optimistic statistics. On the one hand, wages are arguably rising on par with inflation. Bullshit. Just so we're all fully aware, bullshit. On the other hand, consumers continue to shift toward private labels and other less expensive options as they keep their budgets tight. Brands aren't exactly cutting costs to meet these lower price points, Madrecki said, but they are trying, some guy named Madrecki, but they are trying to diversify their product mix. In response to generally strong demand, they're also considering where to invest more to remain competitive. We're no longer in pandemic response. We are in forward-looking, wanting to grow, wanting to stay competitive and relevant in what is a shifting global economy. Strategic reset may be characterized a lot of 2023 and 2024, and you're likely to see that continue. Listen. All I know is things are expensive. Our government is purposefully, willingly investing money and finding ways so that we don't eat real meat, not real cows, not real chickens, but we are going to be reliant on things grown in labs because you can make way more in a lab than you can in these acres of land that are being sold to, farmers. Because you know what? Look, let's just go ahead and put it out there. Y'all ready for my full thought process on this? I'm going to give it to you whether you want it or not. Okay, here's my thought. First, breathe. Second, the push for us to have cell-cultured lab-grown chicken and genetically modified farm-raised salmon and genetically modified pigs and all these other things is not health-wise. It's not so that it's healthier for us. It's not even for climate change. And it's not even about profit at the end of it when it comes to the food itself. My thought process, what I think personally, and you do not have to agree with this, this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is they want to take that land back from the agricultural aspect, take it back from the farmers, take it back from the manufacturers and turn it into something else. That land that is being used to house the cows, to house the chicken coops and things like that, they want to take that back and use it for something else, to make EV batteries, to make new nuclear power plants, Bill Gates, to make chip plants, to make new water distillation plants, to make 15-minute cities, to make whatever else. My personal thought, my personal opinion is that the whole reason they are pushing this massive thing of climate change from cow farts and all this other stuff and how it's bad is not actually about the climate. It's not actually about the food. It's not actually about you and I. It's about being able to build things that they can then make more things that they can make profit off of. That is my thought on that. Personally, they want to build the labs to make the chicken in it and take the land away from the farmer for that. They want to build the lab that they can then, or take the land that they can then turn into its own little fishing pond so they can grow the salmon here so they don't have to get it from in the ocean or from that country or that country or that country. I feel like a lot of things that are being done to our food supply are not because of the food or the climate, but about what they can get with the land once they don't have to use the land for the cows to eat the grass on or for the chicken coops to be built on. That's my thought on that. It's up to you if you agree or not. No harm, no foul, SquirrelTribe, I promise. Either way. But that's what I start to think when I see that we're having a water shortage and you can't have water for this, but we're going to put in a chip plant over here that takes 10 bajillion times more water than any animal agriculture could, but that's okay. We're not going to complain about that. We're only going to complain about the animal agriculture. Got it. As long as I fully understand what it is that they're trying to get over on us, then I guess it makes it okay. No, it doesn't. It does not make it okay. Listen, SquirrelTribe, thank you for letting me go through that with you. I appreciate you immensely. I love you immensely. There are tons of links in the description. Side note, I did not realize this. I put a Butcher Box link in the description a long time ago just because I use them and I like them. But I did not realize that if you use the link, you get $50 off. I had no clue until somebody sent me an email to thank me for the link because they saved $50. I didn't even know. I just put it there so you guys can see what Butcher Box is because I like them and I think they're great. So if you want to check it out, turns out you save $50. So that's a win-win. Besides that, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. SquirrelTribe, love you immensely. See you later. Bye-bye.